Hello and welcome to Chat Shit Get Well podcast. I'm Tez.
I'm Donna.
And we talk about various subjects around wellness, fitness, health, mental health, business, life, everything really. Just here for a good old chat. She likes to chat shit.
I literally do.
So I hope you enjoy our podcast. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And welcome to episode 7. I'm here with Tim, who recently won Battle of Bedford and the finals at
Den Helder in Holland.
Yep. And we're here today to talk about Tim struggles with his OCD diagnosis and body dysmorphia. Is it dysmorphia?
Body dysmorphia, yeah,
How
that's
is it
right,
dysphoria? I don't know why that. That's the dyslexia getting in the way, getting the words mixed up. So yeah, obviously congratulations. I interviewed you briefly, didn't I, at GPO when you went through to the finals. How was it when you got out to Holland?
Oh, it was amazing. It was. I was there 2 years ago, but in a much different headspace to this time. This time I was actually really looking forward to it. Decided to enter a second category when I was there.
Okay.
So I didn't just do the classic physique. I ended up doing the under-90s bodybuilding as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which was just to try out, just to see where I was. I mean, I was probably 6 kilos too light.
Yeah.
But still managed to win.
Oh, wicked. That's so good. So you come out with 2 trophies?
I won the overall classic as well.
Oh, did you?
Came out with 3 trophies and then a second place overall in the bodybuilding overall as well.
Oh, buzzing.
So it was a really, really good. And yeah, it's just a really well-run show. GPO, as you know, at Bedford's ran really well.
Yeah.
And it's the same over there. Everything's just so... It's all about the athletes at the end of the day. So,
GPO is the best federation that I've competed with for sure, because it's just more about the experience rather than the money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the fact that it's not for profit themselves, they put more back into the athletes.
Yeah.
The goodie bag.
They do some decent trophies as well. I like their trophies.
Oh, they're heavy.
They're huge.
Heavy. I own a gym. They're on the shelf in my gym, and my shelves have to be like reinforced because the weight of them is so good. But yeah, it's
so awesome. You said you was in a different headspace this time, because obviously when you first competed 2 years ago, was that your first time competing?
No, so I competed in 2019 for WABA. The Rhinos Classic in Stamford.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
So I did novice bodybuilding, and there was 15 of us, I think, and I came like 7th or 8th or something.
So there was 15 in the category?
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite a big stat, yeah.
That show was probably, in a way, my favourite just because of how big it was.
Yeah.
I think altogether there was something like 150 athletes across the different federations, across the different
really
categories. Yeah. So in that sense, that was really cool. And my only goal was to fit in.
Yeah.
I wanted to stand on the stage and just be like, you know what, I've done it.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks before, my wife actually said to me, you sure? You don't look ready. I'm like, I don't feel ready. And then all of a sudden, within 2 weeks, everything pulled in quite well together.
Crazy, isn't it? The last 2 weeks.
Every 24 hours, you're looking in the mirror and it was different. Then also then lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And then got out of shape.
Yeah, that messed a lot of people up.
Yeah. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to go for it again. And I went for it in 2021. Did Battle of Bedford. The only show I did that year, did Novice Classic and won that.
Yeah.
And then didn't place in the Open, which I didn't expect to. Obviously, first time back in, proper. In my opinion, it was the first time that I really took the competing seriously.
Yeah, you'd gone for it.
Really went for it. So then I also went to Holland. But yeah, headspace-wise, towards the end, mentally, I was absolutely done. To the point where I wasn't me anymore.
Yeah.
And that was quite hard.
Was it just other people around you that were noticing it? Was you with your wife at the time?
Oh, yeah. So the wife noticed it. My mum and dad came down they live up near Blackpool. They came down because they were worried about me. They just from seeing my pictures.
Yeah.
They said, like, your face was just, the lights were on, nobody was home.
Right.
And even when you look back at, what should have been a happy occasion, winning the Novice Classic Physique, I didn't look happy.
You couldn't enjoy it?
Couldn't enjoy it. I look back at those photos now and think, wow, mentally I just wasn't.
Do you remember how you felt then? Like, can you recognise, like, how, was it like depression, anxiety?
It was inadequacy, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
So feeling like I don't belong. Almost like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, when I look at the other people on the stage, I'm like, well, how can I stand next to them?
Even though you won, you still felt.
Yeah, even though, you know, even now I look back at the guy who came second that year and I'm like, how did he not?
Yeah.
So in my own mind.
Are you seeing a different view of yourself to what everyone else is seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's quite common.
Yeah.
Certainly within bodybuilding, you look at yourself and you think, at the time you might think, yeah, I look good. But when you look back, you're like, you end up tearing yourself apart.
Oh yeah, I know that.
But yeah, so then I'd say 5 weeks out from Bedford 2021 is where my mental health took a turn. I was on what is described now to me as a bikini girl diet.
Uh-huh.
So I was on 1,200 calories a day for about 8 weeks.
Jesus.
Ultimately, gave myself an eating disorder.
Right.
At the same time, it was never
Were you
diagnosed.
coaching yourself?
No, I didn't have a coach.
Oh, okay.
To be fair to the coach, I said to him what I wanted to achieve. And he said, what are you going to do to get there? And I said, whatever it takes. And I lost 28 kilos in 18 weeks.
Yeah.
I had it to lose. So in that sense, the coach did exactly what
you
I
wanted
asked him
to do. Yeah, but obviously, we're living on 1,200 calories as a man. I mean, it's very, very difficult. Even as a female, it's very difficult.
So, and over a long period of time as well.
Yeah.
To the point where I'd berate myself if I had an extra rice cake.
Right, okay, yeah.
26.
It's obsessive.
I'm massively, you know, a 26 calorie rice cake, I'd eat it and then be like, well, I'm going to have to go for a 20-minute walk now.
Yeah.
That's where my mindset was 2021 prep. And like I said, the coach did exactly what I asked him to do and I came away with 3 trophies that year.
You got the results you wanted.
Got the result I wanted. And then it's really when we came out the other end. So like, yeah, don't get me wrong, the whole last 8 weeks of prep, the gap between Bedford and then going to Den Helder, that 4 weeks holding condition was mind-numbing.
Yeah.
You know, taking my daughter on her birthday to Alton Towers, taking my pack. I know, as bodybuilders do, take our food.
Yeah.
That's not unusual.
Yeah.
And what was unusual was the next day when, after doing 30,000 steps at Alton Towers, not allowing myself to have a refeed meal and just being like, right, okay, I've still got to stick to that. Even though my output was probably 5,000 calories a day before, I wouldn't allow myself to then have the extra the next day to sort of compensate.
Yeah.
But then coming out into off-season was just hard.
Yeah.
Really.
Gaining weight back on and being able to, and letting yourself eat more food and things like that. It's really challenging.
And then people around you don't understand.
Unless you're in the bodybuilding industry, you don't, because everyone else thinks you're crazy for doing it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, my wife's been brilliant throughout all of it, really. She's the one that's held me together, really, and my family. But because the understanding is not there, just eat normally. Just have a roast dinner on a Sunday. And you look at it and you're going, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, so I went through...
Do you feel like you were like scared of food? Yeah, like fear?
Massively. You know, to the point where you're saying to yourself, right, if I have a takeaway tonight, bear in mind, you're in off-season, so you can have that kind of thing. Yeah. And you're thinking, right, okay, if I have a takeaway tonight, it's probably going to be... You end up obsessing about the calories. You then research what might be in it, try and work out what the calories are, to then go, right, I can offset that by doing X. And that's not what...
You're just constantly doing maths.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
You know, I probably spent... If you look to my phone, you know, like when it tells you screen time, I use an app called My Net Diary to track for myself and for my clients, because as a coach, I can link into theirs. Yeah. Which is really helpful, so I can sort of see if they're restricting, if they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
If you looked at my screen time, I'd say I was probably on that app for about 12 hours a day. It was genuinely obsessive, literally looking, right, okay, when can I have my next meal? What can I have? And to the point where I banned myself from using the app. Yeah. Because it was just taking over.
Yeah, obsessive is an obsessive behaviour.
Massively so.
And that's probably why you didn't have the lights on for everyone else, because you're just constantly thinking about the calories and the input and the output, and you're just in a different place, different mind. And it just wasn't, it's not healthy. Yeah. Mentally or physically. Yeah. You know, if it wasn't for the fact of the muscle, you know, I went to counselling, I was speaking to them, and where my body shape was, if I didn't have the muscle that I'd managed to build throughout the sort of before the prep started, I would have probably... So I was 78 kilos when I came off stage in Holland 2 years ago. Without the muscle mass that I had, I would have been probably 58. That's mad.
You know, and that's when the sort of counsellor spoke to me and said, look, right, let's have a look at what we can do. Because your build as a man, you know, forget about BMI, what doctors say, you should be 85.
Yeah. Because it's taking a toll on your organs then, isn't it? At the end of the day, yeah, you've got the muscle there and you look a particular way, but when you've got no fat on your body at all, you are damaging your body.
Oh, massively. And then, you know, you look in the mirror and you're like, all of a sudden, what I noticed the most being at that low body fat for a long period of time, because obviously you're going to be at that body fat on stage.
Yeah, for a short period of time.
So for a 2, 3, 4 week period, maybe, that's, you know, or however long your season lasts for. You know, I looked in the mirror and I had like hair all across my forehead.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
All on my cheeks. I mean, as a man, I'm hairier anyway, but to the point where the hair was growing in places that I'd never had it before to try and keep me warm.
Yeah, that's a symptom of anorexia, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anorexia people have a lot of facial hairs and stuff.
Absolutely. And that's because I didn't, no one told me to go to counselling. No one was pushing me in that direction. My wife
because I suppose it's hard for someone to identify from outside when you're doing it for a purpose and saying, well, I need to get this lean for a show. But then they don't see the psychological toll that it might take on after you've finished your actual show and stuff.
So when I started...
You've probably told them to shut up every time they said, eat someone. You've gone, shut up, I'm competing.
Yeah.
You know,
or,
it's hard.
I'm fine, I'm coming out of it, I'm coming out of the event, I'm just gradually building those calories up. That's what I'm doing. And you feel like you're in control of it, but you're not.
Yeah.
It had a control on me. And, you know, the wife would say to me quite regularly, like, you know, do you think you need some help? And I'm like, no, I'm all right, I'm fine. She was the only one that I really confided in. Yeah. Because she saw me break down.
She saw you at the most vulnerable points.
Yeah, the most vulnerable points. And like I say, it was when I looked in the mirror and saw the hair growing. Because I've trained people in the past with anorexia, I've trained people with bulimia. I did a GP referral qualification for that reason, to help people.
Was this before you had your own experience?
Yeah, this is before. Yeah, so I've been a PT since I was 18. I'm now 35. Right. But I did my GP referral because I wanted to help people that couldn't necessarily help themselves. Yeah. So I did a lot of work with like the Multiple Sclerosis Society. Did a lot of work with Samaritans, and all those kind of things. So I wanted to help people, and I could when I saw it in me. Yeah, that was a wake up call. That was a wake up call I needed, and that's when I self referred for counselling and ended up going through CBT. So cognitive behavioural therapy, and that basically was just brutal for like 10, 11 sessions. Yeah. Writing down your feelings when you're eating food, so what you felt like before, what you felt like during, what you felt like after, and basically rebalancing your brain to say, right, I can eat. And that was pivotal in my recovery, if you like. And then I actually changed coach, not for the reason that not for any negative reason, but it's actually who I met in Holland. So Desiree, who runs... I met her at the trail. You met her at the... She I was talking to her post-show and telling about how I was struggling, and she was like, just like offered me a shoulder to cry on, just was really nice. And she said she never once tried to poach me and say, look, let me coach you, let me do this. She was more cared just about me. Looking after you, and seeing how vulnerable you were. And she said, look, I can help you, but I don't want to coach you because you've got a coach. Yeah. So I sat down with my wife and said, look, I want to compete again. And she was like, oh yeah, no, you're not. I can understand why she's saying that. I was like, she's like, no, you're not. And I said, look, I've got a new coach. This is Desiree. This is what she does. And she wouldn't work with me she wouldn't let me start prep until I was mentally ready. So we did like a really long off season. We did from the March of 2021 until March of 2022 until the November of 2023. October 2023 was like that. So like a year and a half. Yeah, a year and a half before I've eaten again, and then prepped into the show in for Bedford. But it was a completely different prep. My calories didn't go below 1,900 calories. All the way till the show day. Oh, that's good, yeah. So I only had 2 days where it was that low. The rest of the time it was like 2.2, 2.3. Yeah, perfect. Which, as a man, was just feels so much better. Oh, don't get me wrong. It was that gap between Bedford and Holland physically broke me this time rather than mentally. I was just physically done. I've got 3 kids, two young children, 1 teenager. And so running around after them all day, every day, my energy levels were just zapped anyway. But that's prep. That's normal. It. That's normal. Yeah. It was what I'd class as like a normal. A normal struggle during prep is family, life balance, and work balance, things like that.
And obviously there is a little bit of psychological strain as well because you're putting your body and your mind under a lot of pressure.
Absolutely.
So what happened when you went to your CBT, is it CBT?
Yeah.
Counselling? Because I remember you saying that you have a diagnosis for the OCD.
Yeah, so she diagnosed me with borderline OCD.
Okay.
And as soon as she said it, and after that session, I spoke to my wife and said, I've been diagnosed. She was like, well, duh.
Oh, really?
Like, how have you not picked up on this before?
She'd seen it already.
And she said, Tim, it's not, so when people think of OCD, they think of people washing hands constantly.
Yeah.
Or turning a light switch on 20 times before they go into a room. That is a version of OCD.
Yeah.
The borderline OCD that I have is things that have to be, it's very much a controlling thing. Not controlling over other people or controlling over jobs, but controlling over me.
Yourself, yeah.
You know, so
patterns.
Yeah, behaviours.
Yeah.
You know, controlling those behaviours. So for me, my OCD is very much about, you know, I won't go to bed until the kitchen's exactly how I want it to be. The front room has to be exactly, I lay out my clothes in a certain order. I prepare my food in a certain way. And it's really funny. Looking back now, it's really funny because we can see when I'm not very well mentally.
Because it gets worse.
Because the kitchen, you won't even tell me that even though I'm cooking there and then, you wouldn't even know.
Oh, really?
So like Laura, my wife, she'd walk in and go, you having a tough day?
Yeah.
And I go, no, I'm all right. And I'd look around and go, oh.
Yeah.
Because the kitchen is just spotless, even though I could be cooking like a roast dinner and you wouldn't even know.
I didn't know you were doing it.
You know, because that's how my OCD sort of manifests itself, is very much in controlling processes rather than controlling like washing hands or other people or whatever.
Yeah, because that is typically what I think of if I say OCD. It's people checking the gases off like 20 times, making sure the doors are locked, and they have they have certain amounts of times they have to check things and stuff like that. So say for instance you have one of your bad days and you're having your OCD moments, what sort of behaviours come off that? Do you find you get like really frustrated or angry, or if someone messes up your space, do you have any sort of negative reactions to that?
So snappy. I'm a really really chilled out person 99% of the time, and most things go straight over. But when I'm in that process of I've just got something exactly how I want it to be, and then I'll come home from work and the kids have messed it up. Yeah,
because it must be a struggle with 3 kids.
Yeah,
especially a teenager as well.
Yeah, I mean, So it's more snappy. So like I'll get home and I'll be like, I spent ages doing this house, now look at it. And then I won't be able to sit down until it's done.
Yeah.
And it's like last night I got home from work, and the house wasn't messy in any means. It was just like lived in.
Things were out of place.
Things were out of place, and then I spent an hour doing it before I started cooking my tea.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm coming back off prep, and mentally I'm strong enough, but I have days where.
Yeah, you're gonna have days
where it feels like it was in 2021.
Yeah.
But those days are small. So it might be.
Are you able to more recognise it?
Yeah. So I think because I can recognise it, I can then I put coping mechanisms in place. So when I'm feeling like that, I might go for a walk.
Yeah.
And that's not a walk to burn the calories like it was.
Yeah, it's not got a reason behind it.
It's not because I've had a chocolate bar, I've gone for a walk. It's because I need that just to clear my head.
Yeah.
Or certainly one thing that I've taken from the counselling that I still do every single night is I listen to, rather than watching TV in bed or whatever, I listen to meditation.
Yeah.
And it just calms the brain down, calms my mind down. It's something that the wife does as well because she's got ADHD, and she has dyslexia as well. So her brain doesn't shut up.
Yeah, same.
So we must look hilarious. If someone was to watch us in our house, they must think we're really funny because we both get into bed and we'll be like, night, headphones in, just meditate for half an hour before we go to sleep.
Yeah. It's a really good practice. For everyone, not just people that got diagnosis for anything, but meditation is just so good for resetting your brain and getting you in a really peaceful place before you go to sleep, or taking you out of any angry situation. I use it quite a lot. Yeah,
it's a really, really good coping mechanism. But yeah, so when I'm triggered, it's to answer the initial question, it's very much just a snappy sort of, and I won't be able to relax until I've sorted it.
Yeah. So you must get really exhausted at that point, because if you've had a long day and then you come home and there's so much more things that are just winding you up.
Yeah. And again, it depends where I am, what headspace I'm in.
How do you deal with that in your gym?
I don't.
That must be hard.
Yeah, I mean,
because people in gyms are messy.
They are, especially. I mean, we took over this gym in end of July, early August. So it's still quite new.
Okay.
So I'm still working full time and running the gym and bringing up a family, and the wife's working full time, and she helps at the gym too. But when we took over, when I first walked into the gym, if it wasn't for the gym equipment that he had, I wouldn't have bought it.
Oh, really?
Because the mess was just unbelievable. We got rid of 35 bin bags of rubbish. There was just empty bottles, and you know, like, and then the carpet had like dog wee stains on it. The toilets hadn't been cleaned in maybe.
Was it being used? Or was it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, nice.
So I've actually used to use the gym quite a lot whenever I used to travel back to the in-laws' house. I used to train there when he first opened, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Then he fell out of love with fitness.
Yeah.
He then started doing other jobs instead, and then just let the gym basically go to nothing. Yeah. So what I found the hardest is not necessarily the actual gym itself and keep it in a certain way, because that's fine. I do that in the gym that I train at home as well. But it's more the mentality of the old members, getting them to switch from. Yeah. You've now got an owner that cares.
Yeah.
So like, I'll come in, if I've not been there for a couple of days, I'll go in on like Friday, and all the weight plate loading machines have still got all the weight plates on.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Put your weights back.
Yeah. And it's getting that message across without being passive aggressive.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard, you know.
On my gym, I've trained there for years, and we've never been one for putting our weights back. The whole gym's like it.
Yeah.
So when I went and trained into a new gym, and I see putting weights back, I thought, you pretentious bastards, why are you doing that? But it wasn't that I was. It's just something I've never done, and I've never realised how much better it is when people offload their machines, because I'm just used to taking other people's weights off when I'm ready to train. Like, it's just something I've done for years. But yeah, when I trained at a new gym, I was like, oh, this is how you're meant to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something that I'm instilling in members, is the fact that, but they see me caring, they care.
Yeah.
So we spent ages getting the place clean. We refurbed it, we rebranded it. We got all the kit like reupholstered. We bought new bumper plates in, new weight plates in, new treadmills. The ladies' shower wasn't working. Hadn't worked for 6 months. So put a new shower in, you know. Yeah. So those things like that. So so at the gym it's a struggle, but it's getting better because people are seeing. And also I'm very open, as you know. Like, so I'll say to them, "Oh, do you mind putting? It's not you, it's me. Like, my OCD, can you put that back over there, because that's where the 25s live. Yeah. That's where the 20s live. That's where the 50s. You know." And as they're getting to know me, they're starting to
respect it as well. Yeah.
So, but I spend probably an hour every morning putting the 15s, the 20s, the 25s back in the right places. Yeah. But my
kid's got, like, well, she's not diagnosed, but if we go shopping and stuff, and there's like, you know, like the packs by the till, if they're all out of order, she'll just stand there and she'll start putting them all back. And I think, well, we wish you'd do that in your bedroom or in the house, do you know what I mean? But she does it everywhere else. Anywhere socially, she has to organise all the shelves and get it ready. But I'm like, at home, you're messy. Do you find that you're like, it's both the same? So obviously, do you get compelled to do things in public spaces?
Sometimes. It depends where I am. So if it's a place that I go to regularly, then yeah. Yeah,
okay.
If it's a place that I'm just walking through, it wouldn't
affect you.
Wouldn't affect me at all. I think also, everyone's got their own little, even though I'm very particular and things are in a certain place, and you have that one part where it doesn't matter. Yeah. Your brain can just go, that doesn't matter. Yeah. And for some reason, for me, it's the bedroom.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Don't know why.
It's your chill place.
It's my chill place, so I don't. Whereas for my wife, it's the other way around. Downstairs is her safe haven is the bedroom. So she has to have things particular in the bedroom. So between the two of us, it can be a nightmare if things aren't in the right place, because she'll go into the bedroom and go, everything's everywhere. And I'm like, it's fine. It looks fine to me, even though it's not fine. So I think when I'm out and about, I might walk through a place and be like I won't go through Primark.
You're not going to start going
or TK Maxx, because I can't walk through it.
TK Maxx are worse. Oh my god!
I just don't go there. Yeah, because it would trigger. Yeah. So I'm not much.
Have you done any sort of like timeline therapy or anything to sort of notice that where that point was where you started to have the OCD tendencies and
it's really hard to pinpoint, because I've always been particular about trainers. I've always been particular about my clothes. I'd have a meltdown when I was younger if I got a bit of mud on my trainers, which is when you're a boy and you're playing football and you're running around.
Boys always get muddy.
Getting muddy. And I'd go home and I'd be like, Mum, my trainers. So
you remember having those sort of feelings?
But for me, when I was younger, it's more about possessions rather than bedroom or kitchen. It was how I was presented. I didn't like being dirty. if I was playing football, fine, but as soon as I finished, boom, I had to be
straight
back.
into it. But I suppose your house and your home and your gym is a possession now, because that's as an adult, it's yours. It's not your family home. It's what you own. So you've obviously had those symptoms your whole life, but only really recognised it in adulthood.
Yeah, I think prep brings it out, doesn't it?
Prep brings out your best and your worst.
Without a doubt, yeah.
I realised I hated a lot of people in prep. I fell out with a lot of people.
It really does it, doesn't it? Because you don't have the patience.
You haven't got time for bullshit. No, honestly, genuinely, I was like, I just don't have time for this to ruin my frame of mind right now.
Especially on your good days, when you have there are good days and bad days in prep, isn't there? Where on your good days things are like, even though you've got low energy and you go into the gym, you smash a workout, you might have got close to a PB even though you're 10 kilos lighter than normal, and then you walk out and then someone, I don't know, the car runs across and it splashes you with water. It ruins your day. Stuff that normally wouldn't matter in prep becomes like up there,
10 times worse. I just have to keep myself away from most people when I'm on prep.
Just lock yourself away.
Go to the gym, eat my food, go to bed. That's it. The last little weeks. So you're when you had the OCD diagnosis, was that at the same time as the dysmorphia?
Yeah, the body dysmorphia. Yeah, so.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how do they diagnose that?
What, body dysmorphia?
Yeah.
It's basically what she did with me was, it was a questionnaire, and it was like very much about what you feel like when you look in the mirror, what you feel like when you put clothes on, what you feel like when you stand next to somebody who's probably comparable to you in looks, in physique wise, or and then I'd show pictures of me in the show, and they'd go, "Well, what do you see when you see that picture?" And I say, "I see a skinny man."
Right. Okay.
And what do you see when you see this picture? And they'll get someone up with exactly the same weight as what I was, and say, "What do you see?" And I say, "I see a muscular man." Well, you are pretty much the same.
Same, but you're not seeing that.
But I'm not seeing that.
It's crazy,
so
isn't
in
it?
this country, in America, they wouldn't have diagnosed me. I've done so much research. I've got like notes and notes and notes on my phone. Even now, so that I can help other people, I read it and read it and read it. And in America, they wouldn't have diagnosed me as body dysmorphic. They'd diagnosed me as muscular dysmorphic.
Okay.
Which is basically where you either see skinny or fat. You don't see what's actually in front of you. So standard body dysmorphia is very much like you just don't like what you see in the mirror.
Yeah.
You see something completely different to everybody else. Clothes look like they're baggy, whatever it might be. Whereas for me, it's very much like I look in the mirror and go, I'm skinny.
Yeah, you're looking at the muscular size.
Yeah. Or look how bloated I am, even though I'm not bloated,
Yeah.
So I got the diagnosis on exactly the same day, which was really bizarre.
Yeah.
So we spent about 6 weeks together, me and the counsellor, 6 sessions. And then we sat down on this seventh, I think it was like the 7th session. She went, right, okay. They're not official diagnosis because they're not gone through the doctors. It's a psychiatric diagnosis.
Yeah,
It's slightly, I don't know how it differs, but she said it's not, you don't need medication for it, you don't, whatever. And she said, so I think you've got body dysmorphia because of what your symptoms that you display, and there's not really much that we can do to help that. It's you that's got to rejig your brain. We can tell you, you're going to seek approval from other people. That's normal in life. Yeah. So, but the one that said that we can work with, that I want to work with the most, is your borderline OCD, because that's, if we can work on that, then the other bits fall into place. And actually, bodybuilding brought out that didn't cause the body dysmorphia. Because I said, again, when I spoke to Laura and said, I've been diagnosed with body dysmorphia, and she was like, Tim, you grab yourself at your hips or your waist, or you say how small you look. You've been saying that since we met 10 years ago. And she said, I've been telling you for years you've got that. And I said, well, I don't believe you, whatever.
So you feel like the bodybuilding brought it out of the... It's already there. It was just, you got recognised more. Yeah. It escalated.
Yeah, so that's...
It emphasised it, maybe?
Yeah, I think it just brought it to the forefront of my mind because you have to critique yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's all it's about. That's the whole sport.
The whole and in that sense, it's brutal, isn't it?
It's brutal.
You go stand on stage in front of complete strangers in the smallest pants known to man, and then wonder why you feel a bit
and
crappy.
Literally everyone's pointing at you and saying, right, that bit's too fat, that bit's too small.
Or you get your feedback, and the feedback is that you need to be more muscular, and one of your default settings is I'm not muscular enough anyway, and then they're telling you you're not muscular.
Yeah, massive trigger.
So yes, it brought it out for me, but I fully believe that it's actually saved me from it as well, because it's allowed me to release it in a healthier way now.
Yeah.
Now that I've learned how to do that, it can be. I think it can be very negative for people, and that's why I bought the gym. Because I see it in other people. I want to see people walking that have gone from all different walks in life, that have had mental health issues, depression, anxiety, borderline personality disorder, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I want them to be able to come into a sanctuary almost.
Like a safe place.
Safe place. And so we called our gym Iron Eden.
Okay.
So Iron for the weights, lifting, and Eden, the Garden of Eden. This is going to be a sanctuary for people.
Oh, nice.
So for me personally, exercise saved my life. I've got no doubt. I've got no doubt about that in my mind. I've had anxiety probably my whole adult life, and I've been on different medication that just numbs you, doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be able to then give that back.
Yeah. And get it from experience, like give it back from and help others, because you can do it.
Exactly. And I'd say since we took over, I've had probably 10 members join. They know who they are, and they're going to be watching this, so I'm not going to say names, obviously I won't say their names, but they'll know who they are, because I've spoken to them individually. And when they first walked into my gym, they were a shell.
Yeah.
Hi, can I join? And then now they walk into the gym, and it's like they announce themselves on the stage.
Yeah.
Hello, hi, and talking to everyone.
It's nice to see people grow so much.
Yeah, and forget about body goals and way that you look. That is the win. That's the flex for me. You know,
100%.
Is that change in mindset. And if I can change one person's mindset around exercise, I can then change their mindset around nutrition. And it's very easy as a coach, and I'm sure you're probably the same as well when you see other people coaching as well. If you're a bodybuilder, it's very easy to try and coach people to be a bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. But actually, 99% of your client base is going to be lifestyle. Yeah,
aren't bodybuilders, yeah.
They've got no dream to be bodybuilders. So when people are writing diet plans for people, they're writing training plans for people, step counts, they're doing it as if they want to be a bodybuilder. They don't.
Got to think about how their lifestyle is and what their goals are really, and have that individual approach, don't you?
Exactly. And then actually look at them and say, right, okay, let's enjoy life.
Balance. Have a good balance. Yeah.
So if you want to go out on a Friday night, people always laugh at me when I say this, but if you want to go out on a Friday night and have 10 pints of lager, go out on a Friday night.
Let's factor it in and make it work.
Just don't do it every night.
Yeah, exactly. It's just finding that balance, isn't it? I've got a few over 35 ladies. So obviously, we've got premenopausal, problems with hormones and things, and saying to them, oh no, you can have two. I have an off-plan meal at the weekend, and I have like a mid-off-plan midweek.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I could have that. And I'm like, well, yeah, like that can work. As long as you're putting the work in and you're not binging and things like that, and you've got everything else in place, there's no reason you can't live a normal, happy lifestyle. You don't have to diet for the rest of your life.
No, that's the problem. We're conditioned, aren't we, by social media, by certainly in some cases doctors, GPs, telling you you've got to be a certain weight, you've got to be a certain activity level, where actually it's about what's right for you. Yeah,
it's individual. Like you can put 5 people on the same diet and they'll all have different results.
Absolutely.
Their body and their lifestyle is completely different.
Absolutely. And like I say, when I'm in off season, I'm just on a reverse diet that's now finished. We're now full pedal down. We're going for it. We're going trying to get to the 100 kilo mark, so I can go into bodybuilding next time I'm out rather than classic physique. Mm-hmm. And now I'm there, I'm going to be having off-plan meals.
Yeah.
I'm going to be enjoying like say a mini one midweek, might have go out and go to OK Diner or whatever on the A1, or then on a Saturday it might be a takeaway with a pudding. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You've got to have that balance, because you spend so long in prep and so long restricting what you're doing. You need to have that release, otherwise you're just going to go crazy. Yeah,
you will. And I've seen it happen a lot as well.
Oh yeah, haven't we all? And then because we're conditioned that we have to be on a diet, we have to look a certain way. So someone said to me, one of my clients said to me last week, "Oh, Tim, I need to lose a stone." Why?
Yeah.
Well, because I need that a lot. Because I need to lose a stone. Okay, tell me why. And they go, because before I had children, I was 9 stone. I said, how long ago was that? 15 years ago. Okay, well, your body shape's changed, your hormones have changed. The likelihood of you getting down to that weight is healthily is very, very unlikely. But why do you want to be a stone lighter? Oh, because I want to get into that dress. Okay, well, your goal is to get into that dress.
Get into the dress, yeah, don't look at the scales.
So if I said to you, I can get you into that dress, but you'll weigh exactly the same, if not maybe a little bit heavier than what you are now, will you be happy? Well, yeah, of course I will. So exactly, we're so conditioned about being a certain weight that causes anxiety for people, it causes an unhealthy relationship with food, so that they can bring their weight down to what they were pre-kids or what they were when they're 18.
I agree with you.
You know, and then anxiety starts, depression starts, restriction starts, energy levels go low, especially in women, because obviously women have the cycle, they have the hormone changes. I've literally just booked on to do a women's hormone specialist course, so that I can help those people that are going through either pre or post-menopausal, or the other side of the spectrum when you're going from being a young lady into a young adult.
Yeah.
It
plays a massive part, and people do struggle. Well, women do struggle. They sort of like plateau, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what to do here." And you're like, "Well, we need to look at the diet. We need to switch things up a little bit. It might necessarily just not be your training. We can look at changing your fats and stuff." Well, and it's crazy how much of a difference it can make. And yeah, I agree with you and what you say on like looking on the scales. I have that so many times. Women will be like, "Oh, I haven't lost any weight. Let's look at your measurements. Look at how you look." Oh yeah, I can see a tricep. Oh, I can see a little shoulder cap.
That's why it's so important. I mean, when I do check-ins with my clients, I do the three factors: the photos, the measurements, the weight. Because ultimately, at some point, it's very unlikely that all three are going to stagnate. But certainly 2 out of the 3 could. So your measurements might stay the same, your weight might stay the same, but you look at your photos and go, "Wow." Yeah. Or the vice versa, or whatever. But it's, like I say, it's just so dangerous for people to get obsessive over the scales, and you see it all the time. Like I say, I had the scales by the side of my bed where I was weighing myself at night and in the morning.
Yeah, that's too much.
And then
that starts getting in your head. I mean, I don't weigh myself anymore at all. At the moment, I don't. I will when I go on prep, but I don't want to go right now.
That's different. You're doing it for a purpose, aren't you?
Yeah.
So when I was weighing myself through prep this time, I knew I had to be under 87 kilos to compete in classic physique. Yeah. As soon as I got underneath that 87 kilos, the weighing stopped or slowed down. Up to that point, I was weighing very, very regularly. Got down to like 86, and we said, right, okay, we'll just weigh every week now rather than every 2 days or whatever, because you're under the weight now. Yeah. Let's focus on condition. Yeah. But we need to make sure we're not going to go too high, so that we'll keep the weighing in once a week rather than. Yeah, I mean, we're quite lucky in ladies because we don't have our weights. We don't have weight categories. We just have shape categories. I think that's basically what it is, isn't it? It is basically, yeah. So that's where sort of I've. Yes, I think a lot of people would have said. A lot of people. I do know a few females that have competed and ended up with eating disorders from it. Yeah. And a lot of people do a lot of negative talk behind bodybuilding, and it can give you eating disorders. Yeah. And yeah, it's good to hear that you've actually come back from that and used it and obviously dealt with it and been able to actually, I'm going to stop doing something I love because I have the dysmorphia or the OCD. Yeah. Let's work around it. Let's learn how to sort of like conquer it and work with it. And use it as the fact that OCD, because I am so straight line. Yeah, you said I can use that to my advantage. The fact that I can plan my day pretty much through prep, making sure that I fit everything in, making sure that I fit in time with the family, making sure that I fit in going for a walk with the kids, taking them to the park, going, whatever it might be that day. I can use that. It's almost like a superpower. Do you have to plan your day? Do you have like lists and stuff? Do you schedule sort of things like that? I can sometimes. Not so much now, but when I'm not well, you'll always know when I'm not well because Laura will get a message. I'll get up with the kids in the morning, say on a Sunday, and if I'm having a bad day, I'll send her a message when she wakes up. Right, today we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll list out. And if it goes wrong, all else. Yeah. And I say, this is what we need to do today, and then she'll get up and say, "Don't need that, Tim." I'm like, okay, I know, but it's just for me. It's for me, all right. Whereas when I'm not going through like an episode, I'll write things down so I don't forget. Yeah, I'm like that. But that's about it. I won't like say. Schedule. I won't say like 10 o'clock. Yeah. It will just be like, right, at some point today, Tim, you need to phone the doctors because you got to do this. You got to, some point today, the showers need cleaning at the gym. Right, okay. Whereas when I'm not good, I'll literally have it by the hour. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I have to write lists because I've got ADHD, so I literally have to plan my days. Otherwise, I'll forget and also get really overwhelmed. Yeah. But I think that having those tools, like those OCD, well, they're not OCD tools, but tools like that,
does help me on prep, because obviously you do have to write, you've got your diet plan, you have to stick to it, you've got to weigh everything, and those behaviours are part of prep anyway, so there's probably like 100 times worse obviously if you've got the borderline. But yeah, definitely using those. I mean, I have to force it, so I have to really force it.
I suppose, I mean, I've learned a lot about ADHD over that, because my wife got diagnosed only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So she would have been 31 when she got a diagnosis of ADHD.
A lot of the older people are now, I suppose.
Yeah, it's become, I don't want to say popular, it's not the right word, but it's become common. It's become quite common now for girls that didn't get, certainly for girls, it's harder to, from what I've been reading and researching, girls display it different to boys. Boys
were the naughty ones, weren't they?
They hyperactivity, and they get put on the Ritalin to calm them down or whatever. With women, it's completely different. It's more like away with the fairies, not being able to like concentrate.
Stuff,
And then all of a sudden you get the hyperfocus.
Yeah.
And then you don't stop until that particular task is done in its entirety 10 times over. And I've really seen that in Laura over the last sort of 2 years as I've been reading it. And, you know, she'll do like, I don't know, roller skating as a fitness tool. And she'll do it, and she'll hyper focus on that, and then she'll buy like the best boots, the best knee pads, you know. And then after about 2 or 3 months, she'll be, I'm going to go to running now.
And
it's the next hyper focus.
It's exhausting. Honestly, it's so exhausting, because I genuinely think every single time I do it, I'm like, well, that's me. And that's what, you know what, for me, bodybuilding was such a good thing, because when I finished my prep, I was like, oh my God, I've actually finished something for the first time in my life. Because like that, like your wife, I hyper-focus on so many different projects constantly. And I was so overwhelmed because I couldn't put my attention to just one thing. So when I done my bodybuilding, I was like, whoa, like this is... I've actually done it, and I've done it like 3 times now. And I'm like, wow, I'm so proud of myself that I was able to actually push through that, because obviously it's difficult as well. But just, as soon as I competed, I knew I was capable of putting my mind into other things as well as business, relationships, and life. And then I was like, right, that was my point, life-changing point for me was bodybuilding and competing and being on stage.
It does, it does get a bad rap, doesn't it, bodybuilding? But it does have that, in my mind, that real positive connotation where it gives you that drive, that belief. Yeah,
it's one of the hardest things that I've ever done. It is the hardest thing I've ever done.
The hardest thing I've ever done, massively.
For being someone that was so insecure about my body and stuff, and being able to stand on a stage in a bikini and be judged just purely on the way I looked, very difficult, very challenging.
It's very fulfilling, isn't it, at the time? Before the judging, when you get your tan on and you stand there with your coach or with your partner or whoever's there with you on the day, and you stood there and you stood in that power pose, and you just get on stage. There's something quite empowering about that, and it's almost like a drug feeling. You know, like feel good. The endorphins, the dopamine's getting released, and you're feeling amazing.
Well, it's your time to shine, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's your time to present yourself.
All that time that you put in, all that effort, all that dedication, all the, I don't know whether many men would admit to it, but through prep, all the tears that you have as well, because it is so emotionally draining, so emotionally battering that there's times where you don't feel good enough and you're in tears, and I remember watching an interview with even like Chris Bumstead, who's arguably probably the best bodybuilder to ever walk this planet. 2 weeks before the Olympia in 2021, and he was backstage with his fiancée in the toilets in tears because he didn't feel good enough. And that's Chris Bumstead, who, when you look at him,
you'd never think he would be questioning himself like that.
He's a 5-time Olympia champion, but he still has that doubt.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
I feel like the higher level you get, the more bloody scary and fearful it must be, to be fair. The first time I went on stage, I was literally like, I just felt like I want to go on stage. I'm not here to win. It was just about me going on stage and presenting myself at the best I've ever looked. And then the second or the third time it was a little bit more competitive, and then I was like, you're sort of like feeling that point of, I will feel disappointed unless I place, unless I get in the top 3 and stuff like that. Absolutely.
I mean, a perfect example of that would be this year. I jumped into a show last minute, and I thought, you know what, I'm feeling. I was on stage, and I felt really confident. I was like, I smashed this. Came 5th.
Oh, really?
I came 5th, and the feedback that I got from the judges at the time, I was a bit like, don't necessarily agree with you. And then actually the next week, it was week before Bedford, and then actually when I did my peak week for Bedford and I got on stage for Bedford, I was like, I can see what they mean actually.
Yeah,
my legs weren't quite in or whatever. But it is that expectation. You win a category, or you get top 3, or tops. If you're in a big category, top 6, whatever it might that then becomes the expectation.
Yeah.
Then as you take a step up into the next level, if you like, so the next federation is probably maybe slightly more competitive, you still have that same expectation. And then that can be really mentally quite damaging as well when you stood next to somebody, you're like, I think I'm better than you and you beat me. There's a competitive nature, but also psychologically.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot. And it takes a lot to be able to come off and not win and still want to do it again and still work on yourself and go again and just keep pushing and pushing. Like one of our friends just got his pro card recently and I watched him. We thought he was going to get it the sweet season before and he didn't. And I thought he's going to give up, you know. He was just like... And then literally come back this year, smashed it. And he just looked, it was just a great feeling to see him to win. And I look back, it was like 3 or 4 years he's been competing, to see the changes over the last 4 years. He's got his own business coaching now. He's, obviously he's got a pro card. And
it gives you that drive, doesn't it? I think any sport does. I mean, I used to play semi-pro football. Before that, I used to play high-level squash. I think when you've got
I love squash.
It's a great game.
I can't play it, but I really love watching people play it.
I can't play it now. I ain't got the fitness for it. It's far too heavy.
It's agility, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think when you've got a sporty mentality or you're an athlete or something like that, it gives you that drive in sport, but it also gives you that drive in life as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
If you said to me 5 years ago, Tim, you're going to be a European champion bodybuilder. Yeah, okay. I'm not talking amateur Olympia sort of level, but still, it's still a European champion. You're going to have your own business. A gym, you're going to be looking like you're going to get a second gym in the future, you're going to be self-employed, you're going to have 3 kids, you're going to be married, I laughed at you, I look back to 10 years ago, literally just before me and the wife met, I was in debt, I was low, I was, I started counting, I had my eldest child still, to the point where either she ate or I ate.
Yeah, so she struggling,
ate, and you look like, and I think now, 10 years later, I'm not saying it's all down to bodybuilding because it's not. It's meeting the right people, putting yourself on the right path, and believing in yourself. It sounds cheesy, but manifesting that life.
Yeah, I'm a massive manifester.
I was working at Virgin Active as a self-employed personal trainer, earning £200 a month.
Yeah,
if I was lucky.
Yeah, mad.
And all I was ever dreaming about at that point was having my own gym and helping people and helping other trainers.
Yeah, and I was having this conversation with one of my friends because we're opening our own gym and wellness centre actually in January.
Oh, awesome.
Well, I'm opening my own and she's coming to work with me.
Where's that? Is that hit down here?
It's in Fenny, yeah. So we're doing like wellness retreats and ice baths and saunas and things like that, and gym and PT. But we were just saying like how amazing it is to work in an industry where we can help people.
Yeah.
And for it to be, be able to pay our bills from that. Working in that industry and knowing that we're doing something good for other people. There's nothing... I've worked in so many industries where it's been about money and I've made good money from it and it's been like soul destroying. Do you know what I mean? Like I wake up every day and I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I've been manifesting that for last year. I said I was going to open a wellness centre and here we are. It's happening. So.
Well, the gym that I bought is really funny actually. I went there with my brother-in-law probably about a month or 2 after the guy opened the gym up. And I said to my brother-in-law at that time, I said, I'm going to own this gym one day.
Oh, so you knew?
I said, I know. This gym's going to be mine. And he's like, you live miles away. I said, I don't care. This gym's great, but it could be amazing.
Yeah.
And I've got some ideas.
Level it up.
Yeah, I've got some amazing ideas that I'm going to be doing, hopefully doing as the business grows. I mean, we've taken it from, we took over with there's 25 Diet Debit members left.
Oh, wow.
So it was really low because obviously everyone got fed up and left. We're now at 105 Diet Debit members since August.
Whoa, that's
so
massive.
And the best thing about it all isn't just because we're now making money.
Yeah.
The best thing about it all is that people are talking.
Yeah. It's like a community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the people are getting people coming from other gyms just to come and meet us. Not even to join up. Sometimes they just, we've heard that you're new in the area and we've heard that you do this, you do bodybuilding, you're all about mental health. Just come to say hello.
Yeah, that's really good. Which area is it again?
So it's in Louth, which is the most northern part of Lincolnshire you can get. If anyone doesn't know where Louth is, you've got Lincoln, you've got like Market Raise, and you've got Louth, then you've got Grimsby.
I know Market Raise and there's a racecourse there. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's about half an hour from that racecourse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for me, it's all about getting those people in there and actually training and actually learning as well. Because I find a lot of time in coaching, people want, like you say, it's all about money.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the business has got to succeed for me to be able to progress it and for me to survive.
Yeah.
But too many personal trainers will keep hold of somebody when they don't need to.
Oh,
give them the
they're
education.
Not giving the learning journey they need,
You know, if you've got a goal of running a marathon, I'll help you run that marathon. Once you've got the tools you need, I'll still support you, but go do it on your own because you've got the knowledge now. Yeah. Come back to when you've got a new goal.
Yeah, I think when I first started training, I was with Johnny G, good old Johnny G. And I think I'd done 6 months worth of personal training with him. And it sort of got to the point where I was like, I don't really need, like, he taught me so much in that time. And I've not had any personal training since then because I was able to learn enough at that point. And that's exactly what I'm like with my clients. It's going to get to a point where you're not going to need me to teach you how to do these exercises anymore. You can do what you want. However, if you want me to come and absolutely batter you for an hour,
well, then that's fine. Absolutely, yeah. You know, I had one client when I worked at Virgin Active that he had to lose, I think it was like 5 stone to have an operation. He was like, they wouldn't operate on him. So I got him to lose the 5 stone for the operation. He had the operation. He came in like a new man. I said, right, we're done. He was like, no, we're not. I said, we're done. We've got your goal. You've done what you wanted to do. You've got the knowledge now to continue that weight loss journey with what I've done. No. We're carrying on. We're gonna go do a marathon next.
We're
going to
do level.
Then that's great. And then you can educate that person on that level. And then the next one, and then the next one. But it's too. I don't want to be a business that holds on to a client just because I've got a bill to pay.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you're going to get better response from people, better membership rates, better retention rates.
Keeps your work nice and varied as well, doesn't it? Because there's nothing worse than doing the same shit every day. I can't do the same shit.
You see on gym floors, don't you? The personal trainers doing the same session with who they had at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they're doing that same session with somebody at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And you're like, how's that personal? How's that personalised?
I can't do it. I literally can't even train more than twice a day for personal training, to be honest, because I don't feel they're going to get their full. They won't get there for me. Because of my ADHD, I have to. I'm like here, there, and everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like my focus is only really around 120 minutes.
Yeah. I'm very similar. I wouldn't want to be back to back, hour back.
It's not. It's not beneficial to you or the client because you don't just end up just hating what you're doing, and then they don't get the best part of you. So
exactly.
Yeah, it's like quality. Is it
quality over quantity?
Quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So what are your goals now for moving forward?
So what, business?
You're going 100 kg, right?
100 kg in this off season. I'm sat at about.
You feel you're in a better place now, like mentally and.
I mean, there's still. I say, it's still days.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I think it was. I can't remember what day it was now. Last week sometime, and Laura said, "We get a takeaway tonight," and she saw my face drop. She's like, "It's okay."
Yeah, you allowed it.
You allowed it now.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I'll have a takeaway," and then after she's like. That wasn't a takeaway because I had like grilled chicken, pita bread, and spinach. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I got it from the takeaway. Yeah, I got it from the kebab shop rather than cooking it myself.
Yeah, I have that on prep.
Yeah. She's like, that's not a takeaway. I said, I know, but hey, it's a step.
Yeah. It's just the word sometimes, isn't it? Takeaway, to sit down and eat a meal and have a different name on it.
And with the OCD level, it's letting someone else control what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Rather than me, you know. So there are still days, but no, mentally wise. Every now and then, if I step on the scale and I go, "Ooh, that's quick," but it's just me working my way to get. I got to 96 last off season, and I got stuck at 96, and that wasn't stuck because of mentally, stuck because I just couldn't eat anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm starting at heavy. So last time I started on 78 kilos post stage. This year I'm starting at 84. I started at 84 and a half post stage.
Better starting point.
So better starting point. So to get to 96 should be quite easy. To get to 100 should be tough, but So the goal, 100 kilos.
And then you got GPO next year, GBA?
I'm not competing next year.
Oh, you're not competing next year, having a whole year off?
Potentially.
Yeah.
We'll see. Me and the coach are going to sit down and talk about it.
Yeah.
It all depends. For me, if I'm going to do classic physique again, I can do it next year. Because I can put on 3 kilos.
So you're starting to do the routines now? If you're going to body classic, is that where they do the full routine?
I do that anyway. I'll do.
Classic. Oh, do that anyway. Okay, sorry.
Do the 1 minute routine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So did that. So yeah, classic physique I did this time round. I was 84 kilos on the stage. Well, on weigh-in, and I can be 87 with GBA. GBA now, isn't it?
It's GBA.
Yeah, GBA. I can be 87.2. So if I'm going to compete next year, I can do classic physique. If I'm deciding to go into bodybuilding. Instead, I need to have more weight behind me.
Yeah.
Because it's okay being at 84 kilos on the off show, but I want to be as close. If I'm doing under 90s or light or medium, whatever, class 2, I think PCA call it, or whatever it is, then I'm going to need to be close to that 90 on stage.
Yeah.
So therefore, I need to go a bit heavier in off season.
Need to be big. Need to eat more.
Eat more.
It's hard though, isn't it?
I just got my new diet plan for yesterday, actually.
Is it good? You excited?
I'm just thinking, when am I going to work?
Yeah.
It's a full-time job just eating, isn't it?
It is literally having like an alarm set to just remember to eat your meals.
I think it's, I can't remember the exact, this is how much better I am now. I couldn't tell you exactly what the calorie range is now.
Yeah.
I've got it at home written down.
Yeah, but it's not stuck in your brain, you're not obsessing.
Whereas last off season I was like, right, so I'm now on 4,200, I'm on this for 6 weeks. Then it's going to change to 4,750. Then I'm on about 4.5 at the minute.
Yeah.
So that tells you where I am now.
I mean, if you can generalise and say about 4.5, then you're definitely in a better place.
Yeah.
You haven't got your specific calorie count down.
Yeah.
So what would you say if you had, so obviously like there are probably people out there, especially men, it's not really talked about with men as much about, you know, the OCDs and the body dysmorphia. What was your reach out point? Was it sort of, did you go to the doctors? Or did you go that private route?
So I went to the doctors, but I didn't go to the doctor, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because I didn't want medication.
Yeah.
And the last time I went to the doctors with something like anxiety, the first thing they do is say, right,
antidepressants.
Here's some citalopram.
Yeah.
Have that for the next 6 weeks. And the next 2 weeks, you feel like a dead person. And then your hormones sort of, the brain sort of balances out a little bit. I didn't want that this time. So I purposely didn't go to the doctor. I did some research, and you can self-refer for counselling to, I think it's through Speak Out or Healthy Minds, or I can't remember what they're called now. Steps for Change.
Step for Change. Yeah, I've used them before, yeah.
Yeah. So you can self-refer to them. They ring you up and do an assessment over the phone, and then they will decide what you're best suited to, whether it's counselling or CBT. And then they'll put you in contact with a counsellor. Then they do another assessment, and then they go, yeah, we can work with you, or no, we think you might be better with. So that, like I say, for me, that turning point was when I saw the hair growing in different areas. And then I decided, right, I'm going to reach out now. So I contact Step for Change. And you know what? With the NHS, how it is on its arse and how hard it must be to work for the NHS right now, I put my application, my referral in the early December, and before Christmas I had my first assessment.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I've had a really good experience with Step Change as well. I found they would turn around really, really quick.
Couldn't believe it. I was fully expecting
to wait
January, February. But tell you, first assessment before Christmas, to have my first counselling session booked in between Christmas and New Year. So, you know, around about this time 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Did you have face-to-face?
It was done over phone and Zoom.
Yeah,
because it's literally just after
the COVID thing. And to be honest, it means they've got more resources then, because you don't have to travel and they don't have to. So it is better. So yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's really good that you've come and created some awareness and that people should be able to speak out openly. And
definitely,
obviously, you're someone they can reach out to. I can put your coaching stuff's online as well. Do you do online coaching?
Yeah, online coaching. So I do face-to-face coaching from the gym, obviously, do online coaching, but also I'm there just to talk to people.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, without coming across cheesy or whatever else, doing this, the main reason for saying yes, this wasn't for my own, oh, look at me, I did this. It was so that someone can listen to it and say, Tim, I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
Drop me a message. Let's talk about it. Because, like you say, with men, especially with men, it is getting more and more common now for people to talk. But it's still, between friends, there's still a stigma that you're weak or you're a failure or because you're struggling. That's not the case. In fact, 99% of people, well, every single person at some point in their life will have a low point.
Yeah, definitely.
Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter whether you're Chris Bumstead or Arnold Schwarzenegger, David Beckham, what we class as really successful people, they're still going to have those down times.
Yeah.
It's been able to speak out at that point rather than letting it get so bad that you get to the point where I was, where you make yourself poorly, putting relationships at risk and potentially being on your own. So if one person needs that help, then it's been worthwhile.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to put some links below this video on the YouTube. So we'll put some links to Step Change and also to Tim's coaching. Reach out, speak out, and yeah, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
That's all right. You're off to the gym now?
Yeah, got shoulders.
Oh, I love shoulders.
Good session.
I think I've trained already today. I might go back though.